Hello friends, my name is Santosh and today we will learn how to create Python application using Visual Studio Code, and we will be using Django library. The first thing you need to do is download the Python installable, and for that you can go to python.org/downloads, and here you can see the current version is download Python 3.7.4. So 3.7.4 is the current version. You can download and install it. One thing you should keep in mind while installing, you can check the add path checkbox so that the Python installable exe gets added into the environment variable, and it will then be available for all the paths. I have already got Python installed in my system, so I will start with the further process. So I will create one folder here to create my application. I will name it PyTest. So let's get into that, and then my folder is ready. Let's create one virtual environment for further Python projects. This virtual environment will keep the project, create an isolated environment so that the application doesn't get affected by the other versions. So let's create one virtual environment. We can create it by typing python -m venv, and I will say it pytenv. So it will create virtual environment named pytenv. So we already have the folder, we have created the virtual environment. Let's open this folder into Visual Studio Code by typing code space dot, enter, and we have the folder opened here. Now the next thing you need to do is, as we want to run different Python commands from the terminal of Visual Studio Code, we need to install the Python extension. You can click on extensions and you can go and search for Python and look for this Python wherein you can click here and go for installation. You can see that I have already got it installed in my version of Visual Studio Code, so I don't need to install it. You can please get it installed. Now after installing, you can press Ctrl+Shift+P and search for Python:select interpreter. On my system it is coming on the top, so I'll select that and then select the virtual environment which we have created just now. Okay, so that is done. Now using the Python commands, we will install Django here. Django will help us create next set of projects and application. So press Ctrl Shift Tilt and it will open the terminal and into the virtual environment. You can see it here that it is showing that. Please press Ctrl Shift and Tilt. Ctrl Shift and Tilt to open this, and we will go for installing Django here. We'll type Python m pip install Django. This will go for installing Django in our current environment. So it says Python is installed. It says Django is installed and its version. So now as the Django is installed, we can check it by typing Django admin --version, and this shows 2.2.5 is installed. Now we can use Django and create a project. So we'll type Django admin start project, and I will name project name as project 1. I will press enter and the project is created. You can see the folder getting created here, and we have this subfolder. We have manage.py file. This file will be used to generate further instructions. So we have the project created. This will contain some of the default files. So let's get into the project. And now as we are inside the project, we can raise further instruction, like we can run it. So we'll say python manage.py run server. So our default project is running, and we can see it, which is hosted at localhost 8000 port. So if sometimes 8000 port may be blocked, and if you want to host it on a different port, you can just add some other port like 8001 just after run server space, give the space and then type 8001. Now as this is already hosted, we can see it by pressing Ctrl and click here, and the default project is we can see. Now let's try to create a simple application here. So let's open another terminal, same Ctrl Shift Tilt, and let's get into project. Then we will raise the command python manage.py start app, and I will name it as app 1. I'll press enter, and we have the app created here. So you can think, like you may be thinking, that we have already created project, then why we are creating application? So the thing is, project is one kind of a structure which allows us to have multiple application inside it. because one web application will contain multiple parts which we can consider here as modules. So our app 1 is one module, we can have multiple module here, and we can attach this new application to the existing project. So let's add some logic. Let's try to display one message, say hello world. We have a default page here, so we will try to display hello world. So for that we need to use HTTP response, which we can do it from Django.http import HTTP response, and we imported the HTTP response. Then we will create a method, let's say it as message, and request, let's return into HTTP response the message. Our message is hello world. Okay, so we have added our content here. Now we need to map it to some path. So let's think that we want to make this display on the default call. So let's add some URL patterns so that this particular method can be called. So for that we will add a file here saying urls.py, a Python file, and we will create URL pattern here. So we'll say from Django.urls import path, and from app1, which is our app name, import views, the file name, and then create the URL pattern. Okay, so we will add, we need only one path, so we'll create that, the default route, and views, the method name is message, and then name equal to message. Okay, so a default path we have created. Now we need to link this with the main URL. So main URL we can find in here on the project. So let's delete the comments here, and we need to include the new URL path. So we will do is include, and we will make it as a default path, and the changes here is we will include app1 dot urls, that is our new URL path. So we are done here. Let's save the project and see whether it runs. So we'll do we'll raise next command, python manage.py run server. Okay, here, and it says the project is hosted on this. So we can again control click and we can come to the browser, and you can see at that our page is, our application is, whatever contents we have typed it here in our file hello world is being displayed here. So this is a simple application which we created using Visual Studio Code and Django application. So thank you friends.